Indie Style will feature successful entrepreneurs from across the globe who are making incredible strides in their industry. You may not know their names yet, but you soon will. I'm Leah DeVon, and this is Indie Style.
Hello, and welcome to Indie Style. I'm your host, Leah DeVon. Well, I tell you, we have a wonderful show planned for you today. We have a talented writer. She is a director. She is a children's advocate, and she's the owner of DE Productions. I tell you, this lady is doing so many wonderful things in her industry, and I cannot wait for you to meet the incredibly talented Dora Endre.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you for having me. It's wonderful.
You know what? It is such a complete pleasure to meet you and to celebrate you today, and just to kind of let our audience know all about you. I'm excited because you're kicking off our fall season, so thank you.
Hey.
You know, Dora, when I received your work, your reel, I was actually very inspired by your work.
Oh.
So let's just dive right on in, okay? So your background spans, my goodness, across various creative fields, from filmmaking to international communications and even children's human rights, which is incredibly heartfelt. And you know what you're doing. You just have so many different diverse influences. You know, what inspired you to do all of the many things that you are doing? Also, when it comes to social issues, that's kind of a loaded question, but take your time. And
I think it all goes back to just being a curious kid, just being really interested in the world and wanting to listen to as many stories as it was possible. You know, like grandparents telling me stories about history, about wars, about our family, about difficulties and struggles within homes. So I think it goes back to that. It goes back to the first memories of watching old movies about the countryside in Hungary, about, again, different social issues. So I think that sparked curiosity and wanting to tell stories.
Okay. So tell me, I mean, of course, we're going to talk about all the wonderful, things that you're doing, because I want to make sure we don't miss anything. But tell me a little bit about how you, became a part of, like, incorporating, the children's human rights into your work, into your interests. Tell us a little bit about that.
That's interesting. I think it just came from the fact that I've always been, weirdly enough, excited about legal matters. Yeah, just weirdly enough, I'm a weird person, just as an introduction, curious and weird. No, I've always been interested in legal matters. I've been interested in entertainment law. I've been interested in children's human rights, just human rights in general. I think it goes back to the fact that I would like to be aware of not only my duties or my prospective children's duties, but their rights as well. And I delved into a course in children's human rights because I've read about the fact that we don't really have commissions, we don't really have bodies that monitor children's difficulties and really report things and really listen to their issues and really do research and do surveys. There's no data pretty much about difficulties that children go through under the age of 7 or 8. There's almost nothing. And they are the most vulnerable, obviously, without tools, without a voice. And I really wanted to learn and then report on that. So I started writing articles, to Mary Claire and to any website pretty much that was open to my suggestions on the matter, because I think just by conversing, just by engaging in a conversation and a debate, we can really make a change. And then I wrote a book on, mental health and mindfulness for children, which I think is equally important. They are the future. So
you are just awesome. And let me tell you something, you know, the weird kids, the kids that are different, I've always felt that those are, you know, the children, as you say, that grow up to be the inventors, that are the creators, that kind of see the world in a different way. And I think that's the beauty of diversity.
True.
And being unique. I think that there's just really a special place. I always say, you know, when, you know, you see children, everybody oftentimes thinks that you fit in a perfect hole of the expectation of what you're supposed to be. And again, it's so interesting just with my show and meeting so many wonderful creatives. I often hear, oh, it's kind of that weird kid or that really different kid. But I always just think that that's just the beauty and the diversity of creativity.
True, and we are trying to find our own unique ways. I mean, we are all weird to a certain degree.
Oh,
I think let me tell you about it.
I could tell you some stories. We will have to talk.
But it's also, you know, I think it's also a question of being brave enough to be yourself. Like I'm weird. Maybe I don't have all the answers to you about myself for a start. But hey, this is who I am, and we can talk about it, and then, you know, we can get to know each other and be inspired by each other's weirdness. So
Yeah.
just not trying to voice that weirdness or that difference or that uniqueness, no matter how you want to call it.
Yeah, I like, again, I was absolutely drawn to just so many different aspects of your career and the work that you're doing. But, you know, I do agree with you, what you're talking about, you know, helping, you know, to be an advocate for children. That's a good thing. You know,
and you know, especially these days with social media, is just so important because there's so much cyberbullying, there's so much hate speech, there's so much going on. The influence that we adults are having on children with a single post that you make, with you know, with a video that you make in the morning, you can really influence a kid's day, life, week, who knows. So
I agree with you. I think, you know, at the end of the day, it's all about just really teaching our children to be kind. You know what I mean? Just teach them to be kind. But we're going to move on to you. Okay. Your work it's exquisite. I mean, it is just beautiful. When I saw your reel, I watched it, I think 5 times. And the very first time that I watched your reel, I don't know, it was just very moving. It was very calming.
good. I'm glad.
It really let me know who you were as a director. And that, what was it, like 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes? Tell us a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, some of your projects, and then, you know, who you are as a director, who you are as a filmmaker, and then we'll have Mikey pull it up so everybody else can go. 5 times I watched it.
Okay, that's massive. Yeah, 5 times.
Take your time. Yeah, I know. It's very calming.
Well, the projects, when it comes to film and video that you've seen and you will see in the reel, I worked on, I started working on short movies back, you know, in my college years, and then slowly moved from there. I worked on commercials, music videos, you know, the usual stuff that people experiment with in film. And I'm really interested in small businesses these days. So I work a lot on marketing videos, image videos. I like the nature of it because it's very improv based. I like to be in the moment and meet new people right on location and be challenged by circumstances. If that makes sense. Yeah. So I've been trying to get into the most genres possible, I think, just to get the experience and get to know myself through them. And what I'm realizing is that, you know, I'm really interested in reality. I'm developing documentaries at the moment. I'm more and more interested. I think social activism or interest in social matters meets with filmmaking slowly, but firmly. And also, I really like comedy. I've been writing sketches. I took courses in sketch writing because I think these days what we really need is we can talk about no matter what, even serious issues, but if the tone is right, then it's a lot more digestible for people. And then we can actually have a conversation, have a laugh. We can, reflect on ourselves.
Right.
And it's much easier. So.
Right. Well, your reel it's very diverse. You capture so many different, I don't know, nuances, or I don't know. I want everybody. I mean, I, like I said, when I watched it the first time, I was like, that first of all, it was just beautiful. Just, I don't know if I'm saying it correctly, like just the cinematography, the way that you shot your reel, and how you go from one scene to the next, and all of the different, I don't know, the personalities that I got to see, the feelings that I got to see, even with the little child who's just doing, okay, I won't say everything, but Mikey, play her beautiful reel and we'll come back and talk about it. That was really beautiful. So what, when you show your reel to, just to different viewers, what is the takeaway? What are you wanting them to take away from that reel when they see it?
Well, I think if there's a clear indicator and if there's a clear answer to your question in my head, then there's something very much wrong with me. I want, as you said, for instance, for you, it was calming. Some other people found it melancholic. I've heard a lot of, different responses. Some people found it really European. So I wouldn't say that I have a clear goal with a short or with a reel. I don't want to spark a really specific thought or feeling, but it's great if it evokes as many feelings as possible, then it's good.
Then you've done, yeah, it is good. It's great, actually. So you have, let's see, just directed a wide range of projects, from theater, productions, commercials, short films, image films. Has it been just so easy along the way? Tell us a little bit about, what is that like? I mean, you have done so much. It's, some people are oftentimes people find a lane and they're a filmmaker and that's what they do, or, but you do it, you do a lot and you do it really well. So has it been hard, or tell me about that?
It's been, challenging. I think just the fact that you are getting to know yourself, what works, what doesn't work. Ideally, you have the takeaways, and then it's easier the next time. But as you're saying, it's been a lot of different projects, and it's been a lot of like sudden jumps from one project to the other. There's not much of an overlay when we talk about projects here. The crazy thing is there's always something that's in my mind, and I'm always taking notes for something else. And actually, I think Stephen King says that, it's much more difficult to throw away ideas than go with ideas, because it's much more difficult to just pick something and stick with it and go for it. And if it takes 2 years, then go for it for 2 years, and you don't say much, but you're working towards it. I think that's much more difficult, actually. And in the meantime, the fact that a lot of filmmakers get trapped because they are waiting for that big project to happen, like they are, maybe saving money for a year or two without doing anything else, artistically, or they are just writing that script for 2 years. There's the need, I think, in all of us to do things on a daily basis. If it's a tiny clip that I'm gonna make and post it on my website, then that's it. But I have to keep on doing stuff, and I think we creatives, we have something to tell all the time.
I love that. Right.
And that helps with the big project, because that actually pushes you through those difficulties when you pivot and you take a step back and you think you're gonna end up being a carpenter instead. Because I have those moments every week. Let's face it, it's not. There's difficulties. So
right, and it's so interesting. I really believe, and it's interesting. I've heard a lot of people, give advice when you are creative. The one important thing to do is just keep going. You just really just have to kind of keep going, and you just really never know, I guess, when, if some people feel like it's when they get discovered or they have what they consider like their big break. But I think just from seeing your work, and it just seems you're very fulfilled, and it's just very captivating. It's really good.
Thank
I'm
you.
trying to find like an extra special adjective for it, but your work is just really, really beautiful. And like I said, the fact that you are in so many, different lanes, and you're maneuvering, and everything is so eloquent, and you kind of know what you want to do. It's very powerful. It's really good.
Thank you. Sometimes it's also about the fact that, as you said, you keep on moving, and you are open-minded. And if something comes, then you just know exactly, okay, this is the time to do it.
100%.
And sometimes it's just taking a day or two off and clearing your head and taking a breath and thinking about your priorities. That's what I'm trying to do more consciously these days. That, plan. You don't have to do it all. You can take a step back, plan things, think about what you want, who you are right now, and then go with it.
Right. Well, your work has been, absolutely. And, your work has been featured in some really beautiful big magazines like Glamour, Canvas, Rebel. You've also been featured in filmmaking, conversations, podcasts. How do you get yourself out there? If somebody is like, how did she write for Glamour? What do you do? How did you do that?
Well, I believe in the old school way of just working your butts off.
Yes.
And then the rest, again, working your butts off with that as well. You reach out to people, you cold email, you send your CV 200 times a day if it's necessary. You talk to people, you talk to your friends, ask their advice, what helped them. If they know anybody who could help with getting some press, or just getting a contact to a manager, or just getting into a room and talk to a producer. It's asking people, not being afraid of asking for help if it's necessary, and really just pushing through stuff. Most probably, you can do it the other way, especially these days. A lot of people, without really working on major projects, they do it like the other way. They just promote nothing, pretty much, wrapped up in a nice nice way. But
you are so honest. You're like my kind of girl.
Nice. That's the nicest compliment. Thank you so much.
No, I mean that. You are a hard worker. You are like when I talk about like the epitome of being an entrepreneur, I mean, the whole premise of indie style is about those independent entrepreneurs who want to really kind of navigate their career. And it is a lot of hard work. And I love when you said, you know, you send out your package, you send this out. I think that only prepares you for greatness, because I've always been I think sometimes if things just come to you too quickly,
I agree.
you're not going to really appreciate it, you know, or if you expect somebody who's already gained a certain level of success, I believe if you can help somebody, you do it. I believe in that. But at the same time, it's like, you still have to kind of walk your path, and you have to still kind of do things. You still have to put the work in, is what you said. And when you're like doing the mailers, and I love that. You are a hard worker.
Listen, you have to do it. And it's, as you said, as also, if at the beginning you get everything in an easy way, then once you are having a lot of pressure on yourself, maybe it's, if you are in a creative industry, let's say it's a movie and it has a massive budget, and you have producers nagging you left and right. And how do you deal with that pressure if you cannot push through right now? Like, you have to prepare yourself for hard work as well. Like, sometimes there's no easy ways and there's no excuses. You just have to do it.
I love that you said that. That is very true. Plus, if things just come to you too quick, I always say, if things just come to you so quick, you don't appreciate them. You may not be you know what I mean? It's just,
No, I agree.
The journey, I think the journey travel is really awesome when you go from one step to the next and you see your growth. But tell us some people that you have like interviewed, or some or a memorable interview, or something that you feel was important to you.
Oh, well, I've been fairly lucky with interviews. And for instance, I mean, what comes to mind instantly is the interview that I made with Mike Lee, the legendary Mike Lee, the British legend, who is also really honest. So thank you for saying that I'm honest, because I love that in him. For instance, he's really authentically himself, and he knows himself, and he knows the conditions under which he likes to work. He likes to do a lot of improv. He likes to do no script. He likes to do crazy stuff that studios do not appreciate at all. But he's sticking with his gun, which I like. And also the fact that he still listens to people. Even he's in his 80s and he's done he's done wonderfully, and he's open-minded, and he listens to other people, and he takes my advice, he takes other people's advice. Like, that's, to me, is really inspiring. You cannot really hide and close off and not be flexible.
Well, you have to be reflective. You have to be able to be in a place of grace to receive, when somebody's trying to help you to be better at what you're doing. So I love people who, and I always say this, and I really mean it, like, I am always so excited. Like, if I meet somebody that I really admire, right, and they are what I expected them to be, like, oh my gosh, that's just the greatest treat ever. And then you meet those that are just, like, I was like, okay, you are here because of us, because we did that. No, but you get what I'm saying. I think it's just always important to be reflective, always just kind of be I always say, a place of grace, be grateful. That is just be grateful. And you just seem like such a great person, and your work, and it's so interesting. And Mikey will tell you this. I have this gift. I'm just going to brag. I've been doing this show for many years, and it's like, I will meet people and just have a feeling and be like, okay, it just something incredibly big is going to happen. I just get feelings about people. I have such a great feeling about you. I don't know when it's going to happen. People are going to know who you are, and just a feeling. Mikey will tell you, it's a gift. I'm always like, and I will tell you, it's just, it's the creativity, it's the authenticity. It's just very different. I feel like you're kind of in a lane. Like I said, you're in many different lanes, but it's, when I saw your Instagram page, when I saw your work, I got an insight to who you were as a creative. It was very clear. It wasn't imitating somebody else. And I'm not an expert by any means. And I've had a lot of great, filmmakers, but I've not had one like you before in terms of the genre of what you're doing with your work and the style of what you're doing. It's really beautiful.
That is really nice of you to say. Well, I hope, that people have something to take away from my projects. Not necessarily that they know my name or they know, all of my projects. If they find something, an article or a short or a movie, and they personally, somehow it personally resonates with them, makes them think and feel something, then it's already,
Right. Well, we want them to know your name. They need to know your name because you are awesome. Yes, they need to know your name. Are you kidding me?
If you say so.
Yes. They just have to go on a live and be that girl. But again, okay, so give somebody a tip for success. If there was that person or that young creative wanting to do some of what you're doing, what would you tell that person? Give a tip for success.
I think probably step 0 should be getting to know yourself and taking time with that. I don't necessarily just mean sit in a corner and reflect on the mistakes you are making, because that will make you feel depressed as hell. You don't want to do that.
All day.
You don't want to do that. There's this stereotype that every creative is depressed, and that's the way to make art. Yeah, that's the way to make yourself sick. And destroy your art, actually. So I would suggest the opposite. I think, just the fact that you learn about yourself, you can reflect, but you can reflect, as you said, with grace, with humor. You maybe write a diary, journal about things that you are happy for, you're grateful for, even your fears, like know what you're afraid of, what's creating that fear. Because normally it's something that's not really rational. So have those sets and meditate. Meditation for me really helped a lot. Exercise. It's like, I'm going to say simple things here because those we miss completely. We want to shoot that project for Netflix, but we don't want to move. We don't want to feel good, be strong physically, mentally. And we are on the path. Like, I'm learning every day, but I think you have to take those like 15 minutes a day off for yourself. Do something for yourself. Have an artist date, for instance, just go in an arts and crafts store and buy something that you would buy if you were a kid and make a stupid painting at home. Like, keep your creativity going. And this goes for everyone, then you can build things and bring people together.
I like that. That's great stuff. I think definitely I started doing a gratitude. I don't know if it's a journal, but just, just 5 things, 3 or 5 things, as much as I can times a week of things that I'm grateful for. And it's amazing how, when you have those days when you're like, oh my Lord, and then you look and you're like, oh my Lord, like, wow. So I think it's so important to just, have an attitude of gratitude. And tell everybody where they can find you, Dora Endre.
Oh, well, you can check my stuff out on my website. You can see more of my work on my Vimeo, my Facebook page, Instagram page. And I hope, you enjoy it and it sparks something inside of you. And feel free to reach out. We can always brainstorm on creative projects, or you can just share a story that you would like to put out there in any form. I'm happy to help if possible.
That is wonderful. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure to meet you, you super powerful little Shiro season. You are going to do great things in your career. So
much, Leah. Thanks for having me. Thanks for all the support. I truly appreciate it. It means a lot. Tiny things mean a lot, actually.
They do. So I'm so happy that you joined us today. So thank you.
Thank you.
Continued success in all that you do.
Thank you. Have a wonderful fall season.
Thank you. Yes. Sweater weather. Where is it? Take care. Seriously, like, where is the fall? Like, it is hot. Like, it is fall. Like, we want sweater weather. But anyway, guys, I hope that you have enjoyed the beautiful and talented Dora Endre. I tell you, watch out for her. It's a gift. I'm just telling you, it's a gift. She's going to do great things. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed our show. And until next time, I am Leah DeVon. You be well.